Okay, in this session, we have just a quick intro, Laptin Tum and Steven Schacher. Sorry if I'm butchering your guys' last name. I should know better since you guys have taken one of our cohorts, I believe, 1 year ago.
Almost 2 years ago now.
Almost 2 years ago now.
Yes, time flies, right? Time flies.
Crazy,
Exactly.
yeah.
And your company is still viable, which is a great news. And you are Laptin connecting from Australia and Stephen from Delaware. But please, without further ado, I'll leave the floor to Laptin and Stephen.
Yeah, well, thank you, Alessandro. So yeah, for everyone on the call who watch this later on, and we have Alessandro, and have another member coming in. I can see just popped in. Yeah, so I'm Laptin. But so previously, as Helen recommended, we've gone through call. That was with a different business. So what we're here today, we're representing as under what we call Apex. Apex is I'm the founder and CMO of Apex. Stephen, I'll let Stephen, you want to introduce yourself briefly?
Yeah. I'm located in Delaware. I've been working with Laptin for, I've lost count how long, close to 15 years, I think. And we've been working with this company for 5 years. Is it now, Laptin?
With visual was like six, 7 years now, actually. Coming
yeah,
up to 6, 7 years.
It's all blur,
right.
but,
yeah, exactly.
But
so
it's very, very exciting. Yeah.
That's right. So so today we're here representing Apex. Previously, as Stephen mentioned, we've worked together for about probably four startups now, four businesses together. So this is our fourth one. So really, we've had a lot of time, for better or worse, to spend in the outreach space, which is what Apex really specializes in. So without further ado, let me share screen. Feel free we've got a small group today, so feel free to jump in with your questions. We want to make sure, obviously, you tailor to you and you get the experience that you're looking for out of it. So let me just set up my screen sharing. Takes a moment. Perfect. So, yes, Apex, different color. I mean, visual. Alessandro might be going, hang on. Yeah, normally these guys use blue, right? Why would they gone red? Apex, sorry, inside. Yeah, joke. And our specialty is around personalized video outreach that really helps you trying to get more meetings, sales, and long-term growth. And sorry, if someone can monitor the chat for me, because if anyone's typing anything, as I'm presenting, so I'm not so good at doing multitask. So quick little intro about ourselves. So we just did the intro and welcome. So we'll go through a couple of topics today, just around why outreach, why is that important, especially in the B2B tech space. For someone like Alejandro, around why the challenges for you. And like we said, this is not for Steve and I, it's not our first time around the rodeo. We've been through this a lot, so we can definitely share some of the things you'll be aware of or consider. Once again, I don't know how many startups you've already done before this. If you might already be a seasoned pro as well, right? But there are definitely, in the B2B tech space, there are definitely some challenges that are unique to us, that are not for so much for some of the others, a little bit different. And then share you some of our top 5 outreach learnings and insights, for you to really just once again help you along the way. And Nelly too, I see you joined as well. Actually, because it's a small group, can you share a little bit about yourself for us, so we can try to tailor what we can suit to you?
Hi.
Hi, welcome.
I'm Natalie, and I work for a medical device company, which we launched 2 years ago in Germany, and now we are working on bringing that medical device to the United States.
Ah, fantastic. So that's great. That's great. So you also have some of the challenges we're going to be talking about today, even though we're saying B2B tech, but you're B2B. Like, the key is
yes, we are. Our target audience are dentists, so definitely B2B. Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely B2B, and yes, that's definitely a challenge. B2B is a very unique space, for us. So cool. So we'll get into it, and like I said, feel free to jump in any questions along the way. So why outreach? So first of all, why outreach? Because I know, look, outreach has a little bit of a bad, I wouldn't say a bad rep, but it has a little bit of a bad rep, around the place. People, always say hey man, I get all these emails, but that's just because it's done poorly, right? In general cases, it's done poorly. When it's done well, outreach can actually be a very, very powerful tool. Now, should put it into context of why does it matter, especially at the startups, for startups or early stage kind of startups, why it's so important. Because if you ever think about it around some of the free, quote unquote, I use air quotes, the kind of free kind of marketing tools, you got your content marketing, SEO, your social media and stuff, which is free. I mean, free in the sense that you can post for free, but obviously you still got to put time and resources, but also more importantly, you're vulnerable to the whims of the algorithm, right? You don't actually control how, Google or whoever else will interpret what you do, or Bing, whatever, and all the, now you've got all the AI search engines floating around anyway, so how that interprets, so you don't really have that much control, right? It's almost like a bit of a stab in the dark. You should do it, but it's still a bit of stab in the dark. Same thing with, your referrals and partnerships, also important, right? Vitally important, but at the same time, if someone's ever built a partnership relationship where they get, hey, within 3 months, I had consistent line of business coming through. Man, you gotta sell that knowledge, right? That's some secret source there. That Stephen and I have definitely never, haven't found over the years anyway, right? Really powerful, but also highly unpredictable, right? Really hard to get consistent results. When you want it, when you need it, from referrals and word of mouth. On the other side, you have paid ads, right? Yep, but also, paid kind of ads, and also your so influencers, your that, which is obviously very popular now. But you can also spend a lot of money on that, right? That can be very expensive, especially once again at the early stage. You're depending on where you play, and Alessandro knows about this. If you start, putting the wrong keywords, next thing you know, you're up against, the big guys, right? Next thing you know, they'll just outspend you, right? You just don't have that kind of money to spend. Funnily enough, I've actually met some. I've recently met a founder who basically, they did a seed around, and I think over half of their funding was just allocated purely to paid advertising. You go, what? Like, why are you spending millions of dollars on paid advertising? It makes no sense. So the web outreach really fits. And once again, this is not exclusive, right? We're not to say outreach is exclusive to all other forms of marketing, but where it really plays out really powerfully for, in that earlier kind of stage, is that it's the one channel you can control. And it's the one channel you have control over, that after we refine it, massage it, do it right, email, LinkedIn, phone calls, and there's a few other things, right? Basically direct kind of marketing. You have full control over it, no matter what happens on the algorithm side, no matter what happens on the paid ad side, you have full control of it. And I think that, and once we do it, gets you consistent, opportunities, meetings, interest meetings, sales, through the pipeline. And that, for any business, is a absolutely critical thing to have. And that's really the value of outreach. So how does that play out from a B2B point of view, and why is B2B tech, particular B2B tech, such a hard nut to crack? So imagine there's a little squirrel here trying to crack this nut, right? So I can find a squirrel picture. The first one is around, I'm sure you guys have all faced this before. You find is, especially in the corporate, right? This is not retail. This is not like your TikTok kids on TikTok. Here's a new toy, boom, right, kind of thing, right? They just snap it up and buy. What we find is generally in the corporate space or business owner space is, one, they're busy. Second problem, actually, there are a lot of them is a problem unaware, right? Really, a lot of them aren't even aware they're the problem. So to put that into context, and I'm sure most of you have know aware about the problem aware, solution aware kind of thing. But the stats actually show, the research actually shows that only 3% of customers are ready to buy at any one point in time. So I've got 100 people, like if there was 100 people in the group, only 3 of you would be ready to buy at any single point in time. So what it means for the other ones is really, especially if any of the problem unaware or slightly problem aware, solution unaware types, is there's a whole education piece that we have to do, right? Really nurture them through, educate them, get them aware of understanding what you do, how you can help the piece. And we need to really think about it that way. And so that's a bit of a journey. That then leads into the second issue around, because of that, we see these long sales cycles, right? One B2B tech, generally like medical tools, like actually Alejandro and Natalie, you're both in the medical space, right? So, longer sales cycles, right? Much longer sales cycles. And actually the other flip side of it is the buy cycles as well. So Natalie, I don't know exactly what tool you use, what medical devices you're selling, but if someone just bought it now, if I bought it today, am I going to need to buy it again what's the probably 2-3 years from now? Probably not right away, I imagine.
No, actually,
Yeah.
it'll last at least 7 to 10 years.
Yeah. Well, there you go, right?
It also has a very high price tag, so it's
of course.
it's quite an investment. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So the high price tag means the long sales cycles, but then because the device lasts a long time, you also got a long buy cycle, right? So really, if I buy today, I'm not going to buy again for another 7 to 10 years. So even if you hit me in between, talk to me 2 years from now, I'm not going to buy again, right? So that all adds into the mix of it. And then when you put all that together, what we have is obviously a lot of inconsistent opportunities. And then from a startup point of view, obviously, that means inconsistent opportunities, inconsistent cash flow, inconsistent sales, right? And that can be, depending on the stage of your business, can obviously be a big challenge for you. Like if you're a Salesforce, you've got billions of dollars coming in, or Canva, or whatever, it's no big deal, right? Fine, you're good. But at the early stage, right, that inconsistent cash flow can be a big hindrance, and that's what outreach. With outreach, what we're trying to help solve, or at least mitigate, give you that kind of smoother line with more consistent opportunities, interest meetings, and sales coming in through the door. So not less about us. So let's outreach in general. Let's share a little bit about kind of our learnings and insights from probably about a decade of doing this. I mean, we've really been focused, and Stephen and I have really been focusing on this on the last couple of years with Alessandro's help. But we've also got some learnings and insights from the past. But there's some really interesting learnings and insights I think we'll share with the group that will be of benefit to everybody.
So learning the hard way, by the way, as
learning the hard way.
Many mistakes along the way. Yes.
Yeah. Exactly. To save you all the lessons, all the pain and lessons that we've gone through. So the first one I think of it is like, especially like I pointed out before, if only 3% of customers are ready to buy right now, that's why a lot of outreach doesn't work that well, right? People are trying to hammer sales right at that point. We haven't even built a relationship. Boom, they're already trying to hit me. Instead, what we want to think about is outreach. It's marketing, right? It's an opportunity to create that intrigue, that interest, that curiosity, to spark that, because once again, people are problem unaware most of the time. We need to nurture them along the journey. And what we find is, and I'll go through this relatively quickly because then you can ask questions. We'll jump back and forth. What we notice then when we start doing that. So let's say a typical lead gen, those companies call themselves lead gen kind of thing. I'll get you 10 meetings, a month kind of thing. What we do that, they're consistent. If they can do it. Once again, B2B tech actually is a little bit different. They struggle. A lot of them struggle this, but let's say they do. It's a very linear kind of thing. If the instant you stop, right? If I suddenly stop it here, boom, these leads just drop off and disappear. What we find if we start thinking of a marketing kind of mindset, that we nurture the relationships, we actually see brand building. What we're trying to actually do is actually build a brand with your business so that people think about you, get you top of mind. And then over time, they might not be ready, maybe they're not ready to buy right now, but 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months later, when they do start moving along, Natalie, in your case, maybe 1 or 2, 3 years along the journey, right? When they're finally they're ready to buy, then they've got you, they already got a relationship with you. They've already know about you, and they already understand how you can help. It's a lot easier to bring them along on that journey and drive those kind of conversations and whatnot. So thinking about a slightly different way, right? Once again, I get it. Everybody wants sales immediately as quickly as we want. I would love to have sales, boom, just raining down. But we need to think about it. How do we actually build up this business over time?
Yeah, and Lapton, just add one thing. To say the least, we love sales and we all want to get whatever sales are available to us. And this isn't about ignoring that by any means. It's about accepting that by far the largest percentage are not going to be sales in that moment, but you want to cultivate them for when they're ready. So you absolutely want to get the sales you can in the short term and cultivate your pipeline for those people for the long term. That's really what it's about.
That's right. So the second one is really to understand the pain points. Now I know this seems like no duh, right, Lapton? What are you talking about? But how many of you? I mean, Natalie, Alejandro. I mean, I can't say. I'm going to stop my sharing for a bit so I can see your faces. Right, I'm going to stop my sharing for a bit. All right. I just want to see you. I don't know what title yet, but have both of you, I'm sure both of you have received, ever since you went into business, received those, we are a mobile app web development company, blah, 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 yeah, something like that. If you receive those kind of emails, like just give me a wave of your hand or not. Yeah, right. No concern for what you do, how you help, what your business is, right? Just straight into, hey, do you want some mobile app web development company? And what do? You just close, delete, because you go, it's not relevant to me, right? There's nothing here, and it's just a sales pitch, and that's really a problem. So what we find is that's why outreach. One of the big reasons that outreach has such a bad rep is because too many people use it as Stephen just pointed out, right? I get it. They want the sales, immediate sales right away, but they just use it as a bang, 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 push, push, push. It's kind of slam it in your face. Where really what we want to do, and if we want to nurture, like we just said, we want to nurture those relationships. We need to demonstrate we understand their pain points. So then what we do, we need to actually start with the customer first, not talk about us, right? Not actually talk about ourselves first, but actually talk about what the customer, understand what the customer wants, what's their problem or the pain point, and then what's the possibility, what's the outcome, right? Once again, we're leading them on a journey from problem unaware, right, to problem aware, to solution aware, right? Really kind of take them through that journey, and so that they can really experience the pain, engage, and then help them engage with that possibility. So what can your medical device or your buy now pay later platform, how can that help me solve my problem? And then when they do that, they're now going to be interested to explore what your business can do for them. So it's a much more, it's still sales, but it's a much more, how do you call it? A guided process. You're leading them gently to the water, right? You're not forcing them. We're not trying to force it down their throat, right? We'll kind of nurture them through that journey, and we find that kind of really helps a lot more than the other approach. Once again, depends on the type of business, but in B2B tech, because of the long sales cycles, because of the long buy cycles, nurturing them is really kind of important.
And you're also, just to piggyback on that, you're, for lack of a better term, accepting the reality of where they are and embracing the reality of where they are. Again, those who are ready to buy, super. Everybody wants that, but most of them aren't going to be there. And we've certainly experienced, I'm guessing many of you have experienced it as well, when you push people who aren't ready, it doesn't tend to go well, because you're just not in the same place. And
exactly.
We certainly try to avoid that.
Yeah, exactly. And invariably, actually, you're more risking damage to your brand, because people remember you leave a bad taste in their mouth. And so we very much, have always worked on principle. We try to avoid that as much. Once again, you're always going to have a few unhappy campers. That's just the nature of the beast doing business. You can't please everybody. But what we want to do is build a positive brand, that people remember, not people go, remember for the right reason. I should say that. Remember for the right reasons, not for the wrong reasons. Whatnot. So so that's really what we call from pain to action. Is what we try to take it through. Another one is to make it memorable. Once again, obviously, but because once again, we will receive so many emails a day, and how many of them are just once again another sales or marketing email, just click delete, because there's nothing unique or special about it. And instead, what we do and what we found really works effective for us. So I'll give you a really good example. So I mentioned before, at the beginning, Apex, we do fully personalized video outreach. Let me show you an example. Once again, not sales pitch, but just show you kind of how we do it. So let's say you've got a typical email, looks like this, a bunch of text. Which one looks more memorable, left or right? Right. So, I'm sure most of you go, well, really, this is different. This stands out, and this is kind of where some of the stuff we do around the space, right? These really nice personalized videos, pop up nice little graphic image, animated GIF kind of thing, to once again just differentiate the email, add that element of intrigue and curiosity. What's going on here? Versus once again, we're so used to all seeing just emails with blocks of text, right? Something like this, different. What's this? Click on it, right? I can even tell you, like, for example, I remember someone asked me, how many video emails have you received? I can remember I received 2. In the last 6 months, I've read 2 because I can remember them. It's easy to remember versus all the other emails I have. Give you another example is, so how these videos actually work, for example, they can actually really highly personalize with, depending on the content, and the different logos. I'm not going to spend too long on these, but to really, once again, just help drive that kind of visual recognition, with people, to see, oh, okay, yeah, so why is my logo here? What's all this content type of thing as well. And we can always go into this later on.
In today.
Oh, sorry. And the great thing is we can also do this stuff via LinkedIn. So I'm sure a lot of you also doing LinkedIn type of messaging as well. So for example, versus this, right? You can either have a message like this, and this is a real one, obviously, that I received, and you can see here, like I said, but nothing about what we do, right? Like what's relevant to me. It's straight into, we are a global solutions outsourcing company, blah 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 blah, or whatever. I'm like, eyes already glazed over, going, right, how's this relevant to me? It's not solving any of my problems, whatnot, and it's just a big chunk of text. Versus, hey, look, this is something we created for you. It's visual, it's interesting, it's intriguing. So, oh, okay, thanks for that, right? It feels like something tangible, and that already helps. Like we see, about 16 times, on average, like 16 times more, depends obviously on the campaign, more engagement with our outreach than just a standard text alone with these kind of personalized video outreach. It's really, really powerful tool. Just helps, makes it memorable, makes it interesting. It's not another hard sell, right? We're not trying to push anything too hard, but it just makes the difference, differentiates your outreach from everyone else's. Oh, this one's interesting. This one is fun. This one's going to be fun. You're going to be interactive. So because there's only a couple of you anyway, Alessandro, Natalie, feel free to, just yell out. So I'm going to show you some routes. So profiles matter. I mean, I'm not going to sugarcoat it, right? Your profile matters. People don't think about this. So this is something we've learned from hard lessons. So I'm going to show you two results. So you got one on the left, where 434 contacts, 66% open, 0 opportunities. Another one, 260, 72% open, 4% opportunity. One of these profiles is me, all right? It's me as the founder. Which one do you think, left or right? Which one is me? Left or right? Which one do you think is me? Take a guess. Feel free to yell out.
I'm going with left.
Yeah. So if you said left, is me, you're absolutely right. So I get nothing. Like, honestly, we have proven time and time again. We run multiple campaigns. My profile never gets, like, it gets like some responses, but very minimal, right? Very suboptimal. Instead, John here, senior partnership manager, boom. Right? This is a campaign we actually ran just last week or the week before. I can't remember exactly, right? Less contacts, 4 more, right? And he always consistently, like, I mean, this is only 6%, but typically John almost always gets 10%, on average around 10% better open rates than I do. Just same message, same everything else, just the name alone. Boom, there you go. All right, 10% difference. So we like to think it doesn't matter. I'm here to, unfortunately, in the ideal world, it shouldn't matter, but the reality is that it does. Right? And that's something.
Now, just to put that in context, who the message is sent to is directly relevant to that.
Yeah, that's right.
Obviously, the point is, when the message is, people tend to respond to familiarity and things that resonate with them, that are familiar to them. So to the market that we've been sending to, in this case, John has just gotten a better response. Yep. That's just the way it is. Different market, Lapton would do better. So, but exactly. It's really about being relevant and resonating with your market, and that's one of the big distinctions in what we do, because every marketing consultant, every marketing expert that I've worked with over the years, any competent one is going to, and I know the Accelerator program, they'll certainly do stuff on your ideal customer and all that, target zoning in on exactly who they are, what they look like, where they are, all that stuff, and that remains critical. But what we found in our experience is that is critical but incomplete, because it's important to do that, but then what you send them is just as important as who you send it to. So the videos Lapton showed you, for example, the content of the videos is not static. It's dynamic, and different people, different demographics get different content. Can be different geography, can be different ethnicity, can be different in any number in virtually every way. So it's designed to be more familiar and to resonate with people, because it does resonate with people, because it is. And that's really for us, certainly the part that was always missing. It's, we know we've isolated the ideal target, the ideal client. What we hadn't isolated is the ideal message and the ideal outreach, what that looks like. And that's the missing piece that we've worked a long time to address.
Yeah, that's right, exactly, and exactly, and Stephen is right. It's a context here, with especially coming back to around the profile, it's all around. Yeah, we like to think, I'm the founder, I'm the CEO, so my profile should resonate more. To Stephen's point, it doesn't. What we found here, and it's clearly shown here, depending on the market, it may not. Right, it actually may not work as well, depending on who you're talking to, and so that's really important to consider. Who actually are you targeting with what profile, and what are you trying to say? And that really all feeds, and that can have a not insubstantial, not insignificant difference in the results, on your profile. I'll show you one more. Just to really kind of, and I'll review what industry this is in afterwards, right? And it will kind of all make sense. So once again, same exercise before. Feel free to jump in. You've got one. Sorry, I pulled it from different tools, but one, 20% on one side, and one is 75%, right? There's a LinkedIn acceptance rates. So very, very big difference. One of these profiles is me, and one of them is someone else. You take a guess. Guess which one? Anyone? You probably already guessed, right? Once again, Lapton, me on one side, and Adeline, on our side. And you can probably guess her profile is leaning towards she's on HR, in the HR space. And so yeah, like as Stephen said, by targeting in the ideal world, it shouldn't matter. Like I said, in the ideal world, it shouldn't matter, but the reality is that it does. And so by targeting the right profiles towards the right target audience, for lack of a better term, massive difference, right? Massive difference. Like Adeline consistently gets around, like even in her other tools that we use, around 70-80% acceptance rate. So I would love to get that. My best average, at my best, all-time best is 25%. I think 30%. That's it. That's as high as I've ever gone. Average is 20%. This is over like the last 3 years. 20% is the best I can do. Right. So with my particular profile. So that's really important too when you consider how you set up your profile, how you structure it, all that kind of stuff, but also who it is, who you're using in your team to send out to which particular target market. How do you optimize that? And that's really important.
And look, there are certainly many cases where, for small companies, for startups, I mean, our profile is what it is. We can't change our profile. So, but what we can customize very much is any outreach we do. That email example before, that we turned into a video example, by the way, with people who look very much like the recipients of that content. Those are things that anyone can be changed for anyone, and we do. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. So what we'll do, actually, we'll show you a quick play of the video later on. Once we've finished at the end, too. Just want to continue with this and at least wrap up. And then So, and you and the fifth. This is the fifth tip. What you're really trying, if putting everything we've talked about together, if we're summarizing all of it up, and this should be all familiar with you if you've gone through Scott's training. What was it? The strategy canvas, right? Is what we really, all the things we're talking about here, the profiles, the nurturing, the making it memorable, understanding the pain points, is what we're trying to do is help you set up as a really category leadership, right? So how do I put it this way? So let's say I say Nelly or Alejandro, name me a CRM, right? CRM. What's the first name that comes to mind? Probably either Salesforce or HubSpot, right? Or one of those, one of those core ones, right? It's the same kind, or fast food, right? McDonald's, design, Canva, rides, Uber, the kind of thing. So it's all about really, once again, knowing that in B2B tech, or B2B, and generally speaking, long sales cycles, long buy cycles mean what you want really is to establish yourself top of mind, right? Top of mind, plant the seed, right? Alessandro and I used this term before, right? Plant the seed, get top of mind. And that is what we call category leadership, right? Essentially establishing yourself as, so when they think about, oh yeah, actually it is time for me to, add this or buy this or renew this or whatever. You're the first one I think of. So category leadership gets you top of mind. And that really means more interest, more meetings, and more sales for you. And it feels like it's a little bit indirect. It takes a little bit of time, but in the long run, this approach actually drives more consistent interest, meetings, and sales for you in the long run than just the pure, hammer it, punch in the face, buy, kind of thing. Really nurture them, build up your brand. So this is why we say, think of outbound outreach as marketing, not sales, but it's actually marketing. You're here to establish a rapport, a presence with the customer, build that rapport, build that interest, build that thing over time. That's really where outreach is actually more powerful than how people are treating it right now, which is just sell. Extra final bonus tip is it's not an exact science, right? So I know in Startleland, we like to think because everything's data driven, right? Data driven, if I do this, you'll do this. You've probably seen every step of the way. All the last 5 tips, none of them have been about numbers, right? The numbers will come naturally over time. Everything we talk about is the psychology, it's the emotionality, it's the connection, it's that soft touch. What we do know is that once we do it right, and we see it already ourselves, right? Stephen and I, we've seen it. When we do that right, we find the right target or the right target customer. We identify what matters to them, what their pain points are, what the opportunities or possibilities they want to achieve. We create the right messaging, the right profiles, the right messaging for them. Over time, it works, right? They build up a profile, understanding of how we can help, what we can do. They respond accordingly in time. So, yes, over time, yes, it becomes a science. Over time, the more you do it, eventually it becomes a bit of a science. But there are outreach guys who we worked with before. You go, we can get you 1%, response rate. How? Don't know. We'll just use these kind of messages. Why do they work? Don't know. Can't explain it. Right. So it's just, so there's what we've done is actually put a bit more of a more solid framework and foundation around how we actually get you to the roles, not just guesswork. There is an element of testing and whatnot, but actually, link it back to what matters to the customer, really trying to drive it that way rather than once again, just trying to punch at the wall and try to make things happen. And that's really absolutely key. So
yeah,
cool. So
Lepton, sorry, just wanted to add one thing. And one of the realities is we've sort of alluded to this at different points. Is it's not just the messaging, because in many of our campaigns, the messaging. In some of the campaigns, the messaging changes, but in many of our campaigns, the messaging remains the same. The only thing that changes is who's delivering the message, and that can make a massive difference. And if the message is being delivered to a middle-aged woman from the Midwest in the U.S., who delivers that the deliverer of that message has to resonate with that woman. It has to be familiar in some way. If that message is being delivered to a young person in New York City or a major metropolitan area, again, it's who's delivering the message matters so much. Those subconscious elements are just vitally important. And we certainly, until I don't know, 4 or 5 years ago, didn't recognize that and didn't address that. And when we started to, it makes a huge difference. We just respond better. All of us respond better to certain things, and those things are different for all of us.
That's right. Exactly. And so actually, funnily enough, to Stephen's point, you might have actually noticed in the last 12, 18 months, you get a lot more of these cold emails, coming up. And that's because ever since ChatGPT, one of the things marketers love in ChatGPT, boom, we can hammer these things out. But to Stephen's point, that's the one thing that ChatGPT can never fully replicate, because it doesn't understand that, is, the psychology, understanding your customer, like really, figuring out that profile and what's going to work, and there's an element of obviously testing, testing and learning that comes out of it. But that's the part, like I said, it's not a definitive science, right? That's around it. Psychology is always harder. How do humans behave? But it's important to think about, like I said, all the different things from your subject lines, all subject lines, email delivery, all that important. But just the psychology of the profile, their pain points, how you say, even different cultural like regional differences. So the way
we can keep talking.
Yeah.
Sorry if I interrupt, but just want to make sure that we
Sure.
give enough time to
Of course.
the
That's right.
participants to ask questions. We can keep talking about it, but feel free to join in and ask your specific questions, and maybe talking about your specific case study, right? Your business and the struggles that you went through. You really tried something and it didn't work out. Maybe it's the right time.
Exactly. Jump in. Exactly. So we've got through most of our presentation. So feel free to jump in. And let's answer it to your needs.
Tell us about what you do and how this relates to it, and of course any questions about what we do. Yeah.
Anyone, feel free to jump in. Any questions?
Yeah, I can start. I don't know who else wants to start. I can start. I have some, maybe not exactly. And you can go ahead first. I'll wait until for you.
Oh, it's okay. I mean, please feel free to start. And
Okay, good. Hey, thank you very much. I really appreciate you giving the details about all that. I mean, this is kind of really nice. And we are, as a company, we have been here about 2.5 years now. We're a startup, started about 2.5 years. We have gone through many cycles of this kind of journey, in the sense that trying to reaching out through email, and then we kind of change and lot of things going on. But I think where we are struggling is our when we do get to the customer, our challenge has been because we are such a small company. When you work with the bigger client, it is that reputation establishment that kind of comes into a lot of that. May be something that maybe we need to understand how to maybe get a funding. We have a bigger backing, that way they can understand that we can survival. So that is one question that we have. I don't think this is going to solve that problem. But then second thing is branding. How do we make sure the branding is taken care of ahead of time before you even start your marketing? Because at the end of the day, the branding becomes a de facto when people want to look at you. The lot of decision to buy software cannot be made through email. It is the perception that has to establish way ahead of time. Because we are a startup, there is no perception has been built out. So when they start looking at it, they search it, they will not find anywhere. We don't exist anywhere. So that branding is very essential to build out, which is, I'm finding that is much essential than sending the email, because they really, enterprise world, nobody wants to, we are in a regulatory, we do regulatory work for the companies. They absolutely not even try to talk to you if they see that there is any kind of question mark comes up that do you qualify to be standing and talking to me. They have to first make sure that you are qualified to talk to me. Forget about what you're offering, right? So that becomes a branding questionnaire. How people should understand how do you brand yourself? How do you? I think that may be where my concerns are. I'll like to see what next.
Yeah. So you hit on a very, very good point, right? So we touched on it at kind of the beginning briefly, but you're right. One of the biggest challenges for B2Bs is B2B tech startups like yourself in early stage is nobody knows who you are, right? Yeah. Nobody knows who the hell we are.
We know all about that.
We know all about that. We've been through that before. And that's why we talk about. So think of it not so much that and I kind of covered this at the beginning. If you're just sending email blasts, like with nothing, just a bunch of, that everybody else is doing, then yes, you don't stand out from the crowd. So you're not establishing a brand in any particular way with your clients. You're not connecting with them as well. What we have found, and I'll share my screen. So we touched on this before, but I didn't really go into the detail, but this is actually a really good question to sure. One of the best ways to build your brand is to actually show people how you can help, right? Give them some element of understanding. of what you can do. And you've heard, I'm sure you've heard the phrase, right? Image, says 1,000 words, right? I'm sure you've heard that kind of that phrase before. Well, a video can do even more. So we found this really effective, especially for early stage, because people don't know about you. That I showed you this before, right? Where we have this kind of like little animated clip. But let me show you what the video looks like in comparison, right? So I didn't touch on this before, but I'll actually I'll show you what it now. I'll play like one of these. Don't play side by side.
In today's challenging market, it's more important than ever that your business stands out from the crowd.
I'll explain it more in a tick.
No matter where you are, visual can help you tell your story and drive over 300% more customer acquisition, engagement, and retention with the power of personalized video experiences, just like the one you're watching now. Let's help you maximize the growth of Profile Financial Services. Book a chat with us today.
Yeah, so let me quickly explain what you just saw there. So what Stephen mentioned before is every video that we do, this is our specialty, right? This is why, we one of the reasons we're around, talking today is we can actually help create these videos which are personalized, not just to your business, but as you can see, actually personalized to the individual business client, your target client. So the idea here is talking about brand building, right? Brand building. The problem is, like you said, I don't know who you are. I don't know, I'm not saying in a personal way, but I don't know who I don't know Jameer. Who are you? I don't know who you are. Encore. What do you guys do? So
who the hell are you? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, who the hell are you? So if I just see an email just coming from you, and it's got just a bunch of talking about yourself, exactly. My first response can delete. But what we find is when we include these type of videos in the emails, like I said here, I'm not joking. Like we were surprised when we saw this. 70 to 80% of people who open the email actually watch the video, will click on this video to watch. And so now we've got this really great opportunity because the first thing they see, think about it, right? If you're from Google or something like that, the first thing you see, look, why is my logo here? What's my logo doing showing up? And this is actually one of our clients, right? A profile, right? So I used a logo for this. Why is that logo showing up in this video? So I'm creating some curiosity, some interest. Click. You click on the video, and then now I've got 30 seconds, roughly 30 seconds, 28 seconds to actually explain what we do and how we can help, right? So that it doesn't solve your branding problem right away, but it starts the journey. Right, it starts that journey, actually gets them to actually watch these videos. Oh, okay, so this is how Encore, how this is relevant to me, how Encore could help the problem you solve me, you can solve, and then etc. Get in touch, whatever call to actions, that type of stuff you want to do. Really flexible in that kind of regard, whatever the messaging might be. But yeah, this is the kind of way we can actually start establishing your brand in the eyes of the client, right? As okay, this is what Encore is about, right? And that's really key. Now you could do that, and I mentioned at the start, you could do that through paid advertising, right? You can do ads and all that kind of stuff, but that can also get very expensive, right? Way to to build your brand. This one is a much more cost-effective way, and once again, we can control who actually gets it.
And it'll also through paid advertising, it also will be exactly the same ad to every person. Which in this case, it won't be. The branding remains the same here, assuming you want that to remain the same. But the components of the video change. They're user recipient specific. So yeah, we always use the word personalized. It's genuinely personalized. Yeah, actually, really personalized. Yeah.
I have a question. How do you analyze those videos? And does the approach also work, for example, in LinkedIn messaging, or is it just specific only to email?
LinkedIn. So first question of all is, let's answer the second question first, is exactly, we can do that. So even the ones we serve up in LinkedIn are completely personalized to the individual. There's a little bit of a manual step involved because LinkedIn doesn't allow you to just automatically insert these kind of things. There's a little bit of work involved, but we serve up personalized versions of it. Where we get the data off is generally the same way we do for a lot of outreach clients. What we do is basically, obviously, we do the list building. We have ways to source their logos and various things about the company, the industry, location, all that type of stuff, and then we feed that in. How we go just really depends on your requirements, right? On the particular campaign. So in this particular one, the one you just saw before, we personalizing on the, we personalize on the company logo, the industry that they're in, whether they're in mortgages or tech or whatever it may be, jewelry, location. So we're from Australia, so I've just done it as Australian ones. Yeah, but we can do multiple points of personalization depending on what's appropriate, what will help the most. In your particular case, for example, you would have like we could probably find the principal of the dental practice.
Yes.
We could find their logo. I'm sure we'll be able to find their logo, find their location, which state or city they're in, that type of thing. So if it's something a bit more in the northern areas, a bit colder, or California where it's warm or something, we could adjust the imagery to the suit. But really, end of the day, it's just so that really it intrigues them. You just go, hey, why am I seeing something California here? It gets their attention. They watch it, and that's or my logo here, or something that says my name, my Dr. Robert, whatever, something like that, so that they then click on it, and now that's your opportunity. That's your window. Right, we've now just given you, when they click on this, we've given you a 30-second window to explain, hey, this is Natalie. Hi, I'm Natalie. This is my business. How we can help. And we get that opportunity versus once again, that all those other emails that are just floating around where like honestly, I just asked a question. I asked when we had Natalie and Ella before that some of the others joined. How many of you get those emails? We are a mobile app web development company, and you don't even read the rest of it. You just read the first line and you delete it. Right, so even doesn't matter. Even the rest of the messaging was really good. Doesn't matter. You're not getting that far anyway. This actually helps. This really actually helps. Get that cut through.
Sorry, Lepton. One example I like to use is we've all heard the expression in sales certainly that you want the customer to sort of you want to get them to feel to understand what it feels like to use whatever it is we want them to buy from us, and you see that in real estate all the time. They want you to feel like comfortable in the house and all that, and one of the big subconscious benefits of this is we get as close to doing that as humanly possible, because what we send them, we get as close to making it them in that video as possible. We want it to be really familiar. Everything in the video, where it is, who it is, what it looks like, rough age, background, all those unique qualities that they have. The idea is it looks very familiar to them, and it makes it a lot easier for them to picture themselves, because they kind of are picturing themselves.
They can relate. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
They can relate. So if you see everything, I mean, we're sharing these tips and insights, but really, if you, I put them in a particular order because it actually plays out in a particular order. And so really, like I said, I'll just summarize it up, right? So really, the reason for doing all the pain points, like you said, really understand connecting with the customer around their pain points and whatnot. But then, like Steven said, now we can add in this extra, with this very hard to explain and connect to someone's pain point because it's just a bunch of text. But with a video, all of a sudden, and it's relevant, it's personalized, relevant. They're paying attention. We actually have this, really unique way, powerful way, actually get them to connect, explain, make it relevant. They go, wow, I'm interested. Now feel that pain. We all know, like, why is video more engaging? It's because that the video audio drives a lot more emotional connection than just text alone. And that's when the whole brand building, the category leadership stuff starts really kicking in. So, to Jameer's point, once again, does it solve all your problems? No, it does not. I'm upfront, right? I'm upfront. It will not. So, we're not, this thing by itself is not going to make you Google, overnight name like Google. It's not going to happen, right? It's not upfront. But as a startup, where you go, look, nobody knows me, nobody knows who we are, nobody knows what we do. This allows us a really effective way to get in front of the right people, get them to start. Okay, Jameer. Encore. Okay, this is what you do. Now I'm thinking about you. Now when I'm at the point where I do hit that I'm ready to buy, you're at least in my mix. Right? You might even be the first person I call. Hey, I remember something, I saw something from Jameer, about Encore. I should give these guys a call. Let's have a chat first, right? And go from there. So you can now get first dibs, right? First dibs on the target, and that's where your whole sales, sales come in. Oh, and sorry, on Jameer, coming back to your first question around obviously the size, funding kind of stuff. That's probably I might hand over to Alessandro. Might be more a question for him around that, size and whatnot. But I think in our experience, how do I put it? Maybe just sharing our brief experience, as we deal with also corporates, like large corporates and enterprises, the size sustainability kind of thing hasn't really come up when we pitch it right. When we pitch it and present it right, like we've got a unique solution. We've been around. You've already been around 2.5 years, right? So you're not fly by night anyway, right? But when we pitch up like we've got a really powerful solution that can help you. They really like it. We really connect. We show we understand them when we really connect with them. It's never really come up. I'll be honest. Like in our world, I'm talking to companies probably several hundred times in size than us. Never ask them. They just go, "Wow, I love." Even one a client did yesterday, and I love it. Let's have another conversation and talk about how we can work this through. So it doesn't even come up.
Let's say that Jameer's world, it's really highly regulated, much more than your. I mean, maybe in your previous startup, maybe because it's working with banks. But there's a word over the past 6 months that has been flooding internet, which is open innovation. And before we didn't have it. I mean, it was being always there, but I've been doing open innovation for 20 years, even more probably, POC with corporations, right? Proof of concepts. But today it's really everywhere, and it could be an opportunity of entry for many startups approaching a larger company, as long as they, it's always about becoming aware of the opportunity. Definitely larger corporations today are more aware of the what are the opportunities around open innovation, which means essentially working with startups. That's what it means primarily.
So Fernando, what is the open innovation? Sorry, I couldn't.
Yeah, it's many. It's really, if you should ask it to ChatGPT, but it's really many things for startups. It becomes an opportunity to do a proof of concepts. So, for example, let's say a startup's doing a proof of concept with Accenture or with a large bank. It could be coming within the real, from this corporation point of view, they would call it open innovation activity or open innovation projects. They would not call it, I mean, that's the language that has been developing really over the past 6 months. I mean, it's being really promoted a lot. And if you see like a keyword, right? As are large corporations interested in innovation, more likely, that could be a conversation. They would respond to that narrative, because if they use that word, it means that they became aware of the opportunity. Essentially, it's an opportunity for large corporations. It could be a collaboration, joint venture, a partnership on R&D. But I would say that. There are also other things like opening innovation apps, but without going into much crazy directions. Simply put it could be built for startups doing a POC with corporations, essentially.
Yeah, can you talk a little bit more on this? I know it might take up other people's time.
Sure. What would you?
So because I am actually working with someone now to get through this. We proposed for 8 weeks POC. They said we cannot take you, and there was a lot of question about our size because it's a huge corporation. We got in a system integrator in the middle, and we found a system integrator who will work with us.
There are some roadblocks. There are some
other roadblocks.
Companies are protecting IPs, but I think it's such a large topic that we should dedicate another. If it's something urgent, we can have half an hour meeting next week, or we can definitely go into work more on this approach. And there are projects we're doing with corporations, right? Like open innovation. So they are essentially startups are deal flows of opportunities for larger companies, right? So that's that's also part of the scenario, I would say.
Yeah, we can ask them to tag us like open innovation. Maybe that makes it more. What you're saying is if you ask them to tag it like open innovation, then a lot of questions may not be asked from procurement side. But they're just scared about procurement, not letting us through because there's a lot of paperwork.
Yeah, procurement, this is it cannot be considered just regular procurement because you're not just any other clients. You're doing a proof of concept with this company, right? Or whoever is this. So it's not regular procurement. It's really there should be a shortcut, and legalities has to be facilitated. It's not a regular contract.
Yeah, no, but we are fitting into a actual requirement that we can cut the timeline from a year to maybe a few weeks based on our solution. We are kind of competing with Accenture on this. Accenture will be out of the door if we get in. So that is a challenge. So now this is actually not open innovation plus maybe they have to make sure that we can be trustable to take over the project. And it becomes a very challenging effort.
I don't want to give you any advice in 2 minutes, right? Sounds like a pretty important deal. So why don't we set up a one-on-one next week and I have the time to understand more, and I'll poke here or there more questions. But is it okay, Jamir?
Yeah, that's good. Maybe this week we can catch up, maybe because I'm still working on this right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alejandro, you've been pretty quiet. Do you got any questions for us?
Well, I was just wondering, like, if you need to onboard, for example, 50 or 100 users, but you don't have a development team, like, what's the best strategy to onboard like too many users in the best cost-effective way? I mean, through educational videos and outreaching with private messages. I mean,
yeah. So when you say onboarding, are you talking about actually like onboarding as it turning into real paying customers, or are you just talking about reaching out to like educating, like just building a connection with them first? Like, what do you say when you say
the full cycle? For example, I'm building a platform, right? And I'm going to onboard 50, 100 medical providers. And each provider, I need to sell the platform, sell them how I can help to their patients by offering payment plans, and then show them how to use the platform. And then after they will bring their patients to the platform, and then I will start getting revenue. So that's like a long cycle, and I don't have like a development team like to reach out and teach too many doctors how to use the platform and stuff. So what's like the best strategy to onboard many sellers?
Yeah, so it's probably a little bit not. I'll be upfront. Probably not our space that we generally, like Stephen and I, are not overly specialized in onboarding like at that mass, because we deal with more like one big client rather than a lot of smaller ones. Just being perfectly upfront. But you probably, I suspect, based on what you just said, you probably could systemize a bit of a consistent approach. Like, like step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like for this doctor, this dentist, whatever it may be, 1, 2, 3, or 5, boom, and kind of thing. And that can be, if you're clear on what that is, like that sequence could definitely be set up and allow you to just, once again, a lot more hands off, drive that. You will still obviously have to get in at some point. I'm sure there'll be points where you'll have to jump into whatnot, but based on what you just kind of highlighted, that would be my initial thoughts. But I don't know enough to say for sure at this point. Alessandro might have a closer view.
Yeah, I mean, there is an onboarding processes, right? But just a quick example: when you joined our platform, there was an onboarding process, so that guides you through certain aspects. Post something, introduce yourself. Of course, it's a slow-paced onboarding process, right? It's not highly required. In your case, eventually that thing will be required because you have to register the members in your offerings. But it's it's like Laptin says, there's you have to clarify what is the onboarding, and then that could be translated into tasks that can be automated. If the onboarding it's mechanical, it's just automations on the platform. But I think that, you know, depends how you're building it, right? You're building the platform with software developers, maybe, and the tasks are easy, that could be completely automated, like in our platform. But if the doctors require some nurturing, usually you need a somebody like a customer success manager that calls them and remind them to do something. Is everything okay? You didn't sign up to that yet. Would you do that? And it helps a lot. I mean, at the end, it's only a few hours. It could be a virtual assistant, right? It doesn't have to be a full-time employee. But again, it's about the process. Then you write down this process, and it could be executed by either a tool or maybe an automation, or maybe by a person if the experience, the guides that users, client, customers through your platform requires a human touch, right?
Yeah, I agree. Well, I need to build it like with a lot of automations and to make it easier. And I believe maybe making videos about how to use the platform will take many hours of people like teaching doctors.
I would, so there's this opens up also another huge topic, but we can I wouldn't do that at the beginning, because you don't know yet completely in details the customer journey and what is that you want to like create. Eventually you will have to create an incentive to have recurring users. So you want them to be happy with your platform. So there will be some elements, some experiences, some events that they have to trigger in order to become recurring users. And because it's such an early stage that you don't know exactly yet, which is the sequence of events that will make a user a recurrent user. So at the beginning, just that you should be able to do it a little bit manually. I know you're building the platform, so at least onboard a few doctors first, and then you figure out which are these mechanics, the mechanisms that you need to implement. Always do it. If you don't know what to do it manually. Test something out and then come up with the process.
Yeah,
exactly. It's the same way we built up our outreach stuff. We started manually first, and then once we saw work, we started systematizing it to something a lot more scalable.
I wanted to say also hi to Basili, that if I'm not wrong, he is in Paris.
Yeah. I run in Paris.
Is it 3 a.m. over there?
Absolutely, 3 a.m. That's why my E is tiny. I do my best to follow the flow, because I want to be on the board, right? So yeah.
Thanks for
joining us at this hour.
I can relate. I'm normally still up at 4 a.m. So we're like brothers in arms.
Across the world, definitely. So it's 6:10. I think we have to, close the call, even though I understand that everybody would like to continue for another hour here, but so I really appreciate at the end, I mean, you guys joined and it became very, very interesting. A lot of questions, very, exciting call. Clearly the topic is something that we all give a lot of importance. So
can I ask about the pricing point for your Visual Pro that you talk about? I mean, how is that, you create the branding and all that? What is the pricing that you have?
Yeah, so let me just, I'll share, in interest of time, what I'll do, I'll just share. So just last little bit. So here are our contact details. So just so you have them, we do have an exclusive offer for M Accelerator, because we're also from the, we're in the community as well. We're also
one of our partners, for sure.
Yeah, so depending on your circumstances, it may be a little bit different for everyone. So that's why I thought, just share my contact details. Drop me a line. We can have a more detailed chat, and we can figure out, what will be most what service will be most suitable for you, and what would that look like? Because it's a little different for everyone, obviously.
And by the way, I mean, obviously we're happy to provide all the information about pricing, but also happy to have additional conversations
Yeah.
to continue,
exactly.
you know, the dialogue at any point you guys would like to chat about.
Yeah, exactly.
About anything that you do and that we do related to this. Happy to chat about it.
And how we can help. Exactly. So we, like we said, we're in the B2B. We're in the B2B space. We know overnight sales don't happen. Don't work that way.
It doesn't happen.
Yeah.
All right. So it's more important, like exactly Stephen's point. Let's have a dialogue. Let's help understand really what you're trying to achieve. See how you know, if and how we can best help. And then, you know, we can work out something. But we do have a you know, a special offer, you know, for M Accelerator, you know, startups and founders because of our relationship with Alessandro, you know, and the program.
Thank you.
Thank you, Alejandro. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Thanks, Laptin, Steven, Alessandro. I appreciate it.
Thank you to everyone. Yeah.
No worries.
Thank you, everyone.
No worries. I hope that was helpful. Hope that helped. Feel free to reach out if you've got any further questions afterwards.
Sure. Thank you.
Yeah.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye. Thanks, Laptins. Thanks, Steven.
Thanks, Alessandro.